All right, today we're tackling one of our most valuable resources, and honestly, one of the most mismanaged, our time. We're going to break down a framework and a toolkit that's really designed to shift you from feeling like you're constantly behind to feeling totally in control. So, let's dive in.
So, does this sound familiar at all? This is actually from a Reddit post, but man, does it capture a feeling so many of us know. You plan your day, you do the calculations, but somehow you still end up behind, feeling overwhelmed, and just constantly playing catch up.
So, what's the deal? Why do our best laid plans just fall apart so often? It's usually not because we don't care or we don't want to be on time. It's often about the system or, the lack of a system that we're using. And that's what this is all about, giving you a clear framework to take back that control.
Okay, first things first, let's really diagnose the problem here. It's this vicious cycle that starts with really good intentions, but it can quickly spiral, right? We put off the big tasks, we miss deadlines, and then we end up in this state of last-minute panic just trying to get things done. And the whole thing is just fueled by stress.
And look, how many of us have told ourselves this little lie, oh, I thrive under pressure. But let's be real, it's usually just a coping mechanism for not having any structure. When we're staring at a mountain of tasks, that feeling of being completely overwhelmed can literally paralyze us. And what happens? We do nothing at all, which of course just makes the whole problem way worse.
So, how do we break out of this cycle? Well, the first step isn't about working more hours. It's about working smarter. And that all starts with understanding the different kinds of work we're actually doing. The author Cal Newport gives us a brilliant way to look at this. He basically splits our work into two big categories. On one side, you've got deep work. This is the really cognitively demanding stuff, like strategy, coding, creative writing, the things that actually create new value. And on the other side, you have shallow work. This is all the logistical stuff, like answering emails or doing routine data entry. Look, it's necessary, but it doesn't really push your skills or lead to any breakthroughs. Now, here is the really crucial part. The real cost comes when we try to mix these two types of work. Trying to multitask or rapidly switch between a deep task and a shallow one can absolutely slash your productivity by up to 40%. It's this thing called context switching, and it is a massive focus killer because your brain has to constantly reload and refocus. It just wastes so much precious mental energy. Okay, so if we want to protect our time for that really valuable deep work, we need a plan. And that plan starts with setting goals that are actually designed to be accomplished. And this is exactly where the SMART framework comes in.
The SMART framework is just such a powerful tool because it turns a vague, fuzzy idea like, I need to get better at time management, into a concrete, actionable plan. It forces you to get really clear on your ideas, focus your resources, and it dramatically increases your chances of actually, succeeding.
First up, we've got S for specific. You see, be more productive isn't a goal, it's a wish. A specific goal would be something like, I will reduce the time I spend on email by 30 minutes each day so I can free up time for deep work. See the difference there? It answers exactly what you want to accomplish and why it's so important.
Next up is M for measurable. How are you going to know you've actually succeeded? For our email example, you could track your time for a week. Success is hitting that 30-minute reduction target. It gives you real, tangible proof of your progress.
Then the A stands for achievable. And this is just a reality check. Is cutting your email time by 30 minutes realistic with your current workload? Maybe starting with 15 minutes is a better idea. The whole point is to set yourself up for a win, not for failure by aiming way too high, way too soon.
Then we have R for relevant. You got to ask yourself, does this goal actually matter? Does saving 30 minutes on email really align with your bigger objective of, say, completing a major project? If it does, fantastic. If not, then you're just optimizing something that doesn't really move the needle.
And finally, T for time-bound. Your goal has to have a deadline. For instance, I will achieve this 30-minute reduction within 2 weeks. This creates a healthy sense of urgency, and it stops the goal from just stretching on forever. So when you put it all together, SMART turns that vague wish into a real solid plan.
Okay, so now you've got a clear, actionable goal. But how do you actually execute on it, especially when it requires that deep, focused work? Well, let's look at a technique that's designed for exactly that.
And that's where the Pomodoro technique comes in. It was developed way back in the late 1980s, and its genius is really in its simplicity. Instead of trying to force yourself to focus for hours and hours on end, you work in these short, intense bursts. It's a fantastic way to fight off mental fatigue and just stay sharp. And the data on this is just beautiful. A review that covered over 5,000 people found that using these structured Pomodoro intervals led to about 20% lower fatigue compared to just, taking breaks whenever you feel like it. And why is that? It's because the structure takes away the decision-making. You don't have to wonder when to take a break. The system just tells you.
And the process itself could not be simpler. You just set a timer for 25 minutes and give one single task your undivided attention. No distractions. When that timer goes off, you take a quick 5-minute break. And after 4 of these cycles, you take a longer break, maybe 15 to 30 minutes. It literally trains your brain to focus in sprints.
The Pomodoro technique is perfect for managing those individual tasks. But how do we scale this kind of intention up to plan our entire week? Well, that's where we bring in some calendar-level strategies.
So, there are a few really powerful methods to structure your calendar. Time blocking means you give every single minute of your day a job. No more of those unstructured voids where you're not sure what to do next. Then there's task batching, which is all about efficiency. You group all your similar shallow tasks, like answering all your emails, into one single power session. And day theming takes it even a step further, where you assign a specific focus to an entire day, like Content Creation Mondays or Admin Fridays.
And here is the crucial payoff. By giving your time a purpose in advance, you shift from being reactive to being proactive. This quote from Cal Newport just says it all. A structured 40-hour week can produce as much as an unstructured 60-plus hour week. See, structure doesn't limit you, it actually liberates you. It's the difference between you controlling your schedule and your schedule controlling you.
So, by combining a clear framework like SMART goals with these powerful tools like Pomodoro and time blocking, you can fundamentally change your relationship with time. You really can shift from being totally overwhelmed to being in control. So, I'll leave you with a challenge. Take a look at your schedule for tomorrow. What is the one deep work task you are going to time block and protect no matter what?